And think about that. 40,000 Americans die every year on the roads. 3,000 Americans died on 9/11, and yet our whole life changed because of 9/11. But did you even know that 40,000 Americans died in traffic accidents? No one seems to care. What is this about? It isn't about security. It never was. Our fears have been manipulated and exploited so that we will ignore the really important issues and things that are going on. Like, for the first time in American history, we attacked a country who had not attacked us and in fact could not have attacked us. Civil liberties are routinely compromised and undermined, yet we turn our heads and cough because we are told we are in danger. We've allowed ourselves to become the very people that we fear and oppose by arresting and torturing people without regard to international law. There is a government off the south coast of Florida that arrests people and hold them for years without charge or trial, and that torture them, including waterboarding them. And that government is not headed by Fidel Castro. It is headed by Washington. We have caused the death of almost 1 million innocent people in Iraq and Afghanistan, just so Americans can enjoy the illusion that we are safer. And about all of this, the press has been almost entirely silent. Who have we become? What is America becoming? In the debate over torture in the U.S. Senate, let those words sink in for just a moment. The Senate of the United States is debating the validity of torture. In this debate, Senator Jeff Sessions from Alabama said about the folks imprisoned in Guantanamo that they were terrorists, and therefore they were dangerous people and did not deserve the protections of international law. It was Senator John McCain who had the integrity to remind him and us that this issue was not about who they are, but about who we are. Once upon a time, Americans held themselves and their governments to a higher standard. We were proud of how we treated even our enemies. We weren't like the countries that we fought, who tortured and neglected and starved their prisoners. We weren't then, we are now. We have compromised our highest values. I think that is what President Roosevelt meant. We have a great deal to fear, and from those political leaders who would use our fears to manipulate us and cause us to become people we never were before. Well, another quick aphorism from another wise American that deserves to be remembered is Benjamin Franklin's, who said, "Any society that will give up a little liberty to gain a little security will deserve neither and lose both." Like Texas and this part of Missouri is dominated by a faith system which is utterly dependent on fear. In return for giving up your liberty to decide how you will live your life and who you will love, the church will give you a little security about where you will spend eternity, as if it's theirs to decide. The fundamentalist and fundamentalist Protestant Catholics use eternity as a fearful weapon to control people's behavior and who they love and so forth. H.L. Mencken said, "Fundamentalist is defined this way: a terror a terrible, pervasive fear that someone, somewhere, is having fun. That is what fundamentalists seem to be most afraid of. In my book, The Real Antichrist, I propose that the greatest danger to humanity today is posed by fundamentalism. Now, the fundamentalist Muslims have gotten most of the attention, but I suspect every person in this room can cite examples about how you or your friends have been terrorized by fundamentalist Christians. Muslim fundamentalists may threaten your life, but Christian fundamentalists routinely threaten your soul. And you know, I'm hard-pressed to decide which evil is the greater. As someone who the Dallas Police Department once put on their most endangered species list, I know that Christian fundamentalism is no less dangerous than Muslim fundamentalism. They are relentless in their political agenda, which consists mostly of limiting the civil rights of lesbian and gay people, of controlling what children learn in school, and of keeping women from controlling their own bodies. Somewhere along the way, they must have found a verse in the Bible that said that tax cuts for the rich are sacred. And I know there must be a verse in the book of Hezekiah that says people of faith have to vote Republican. Now, there is a corollary to that verse in the Bible, in the GLBT Bible, which says that you're supposed to vote Democratic, whether or not the Democrats support you. Now, LGBT people have experienced rejection for so long that if someone is civil to us and will allow us to sit at the table, then we will accept whatever crumbs from the table they offer us. Well, if tonight's event means anything at all, it must mean that we know how to set our own table. We don't need them to invite us to theirs. We can set our own table, our own agenda. We can find our own validity without being validated by political leaders or religious leaders. You know, I have many friends who are good Democrats, and I have to say that tends to be my orientation. But where are the Democratic leaders who are standing up and fighting for LGBT rights at the risk of their own political careers? Where are they? And yet they take us for granted that, well, they won't vote for the Republicans, so I guess they'll vote for us. Or maybe we won't.